Hello. So I'm traveling, so I'm not at home. I'm in an Airbnb with some friends. So I'm going to attempt to talk to you about this chapter and keep it together and not be weird like I normally am so that they don't hear me shouting. So, One Piece chapter 1118. There's so much to discuss in this short chapter, starting with the Iron Giant. So the Iron Giant has now fallen into the water, broken these ships apart. Again, I'm loving the panels in these last several chapters. It's just beautiful art. So the Iron Giant, he's smashing ships, falling into the water, going underwater. Now, it looks like the snail phone is shorting out here, but I think it's important to remember that the snail phone is not electronic. It's an animal. So I don't really know the mechanics of all this, like maybe being underwater, having that barrier interrupts the psychic signals, but having water, and this is the way I'm imagining it. The snail phone is inside the Iron Giant's chest, and the Iron Giant is submerged in water, but the water is very slowly rising up inside of the Iron Giant. So the snail might not actually be underwater, might not be fully submerged yet, might not need to hold its breath just yet. So if the Iron Giant, now that Luffy is back in Gear 5th at the end of this chapter, gets back up, gets out of the water, and starts moving again, then in my mind, even though the signal has been interrupted, which is completely unsurprising, I still think that there's a strong chance that we're going to continue to get this message. If the Iron Giant wakes up with Luffy's heartbeat going again, is able to get itself out of the water, and that stops whatever is interrupting the psychic feed, then we're going to get, like, the screens are going to turn back on, the message will continue. We'll just have lost what was said underwater, which I think would be a really good way for Oda to handle this, because obviously Oda can't reveal too much in this message that Vegapunk is delivering, but it still has to be enough to be satisfying to the reader. And at this point, I don't think it is. At this point, we've had a lot of really exciting implications and confirmations through this message, but if it ends like this, I imagine people won't love that. So this is a really good way to allow the message to continue, to allow us to get more information, more lore drops, more reveals that will be satisfying to us without revealing the entire story, because there was an interruption. Since for some reason Vegapunk decided not to deliver this message in a loop, he decided to wait until everybody got on the stream and then deliver the message one time, and there is no rewatch. There's no way for us to see what was underwater, which works out as far as Oda not revealing too much, but us still getting more after this. So that's what I'm banking on. I think the Iron Giant's going to get back up. I think the feed's going to continue. We lost what was said underwater, but we still get more after this. Speaking of Vegapunk not playing this message on loop, I'm also kind of irritated with him right now with how he's chosen to deliver this message, because he's like, here's the bad news. You're all gonna die. That super sucks. I'm really sorry about the fact that you're all drowning, but I'm being sarcastic. I'm mucking about. I know. What I mean is, he doesn't want to place morality. He doesn't want to gauge morality on the world government, but he did kind of speculate morality on the Roger Pirates. Why would they not allow the ancient weapons to be destroyed? They could have, and they preserved them. Why would they do this? They knew all these things that I've just discovered, and they didn't tell anyone why. Like, he was really burdened by this, understandably so. Yet, he didn't disclose to the world that the other side of this war, the world government, is currently in possession of those ancient weapons and is destroying things, is eliminating islands. Like, he told the world that the islands are being, that Lulisha was eliminated and that the people are all dead. He told the world that the world is sinking. He told the world that there's a war going on in your backyard that you didn't know about, but he hasn't actually said, and this is all by the hands of the world government. So I am a little bit irritated irritated at Vegapunk as I read people's reactions to this, and they're like, why did the feed go out? I know he broke a law. I know he said in his message that this piece of history was kept from you and they made it illegal for me to research it, but I researched it anyway. But they wouldn't kill him over that. They wouldn't kill him for this. So they still, because Vegapunk chose not to disclose that they're the ones in power of the ancient weapons and the reason the world is sinking, and that they're behind so much suffering in this world, people are still confused. So I'm a little bit irritated at Vegapunk right now for the formatting of his message, because I feel like he could have been a little bit more clear, but anyway, we'll move on. I do still think that there's more. I do still think that the Iron Giant's going to get back up. The message is going to keep playing. We lost what was underwater, which is a good narrative choice. We don't want everything explained to us in this message, but we are going to get more to make this whole thing feel satisfying to us. York, they did ask York who is all alive, and York listed off herself, Atlas, and Lilith, which I don't think necessarily means that Edison is dead. It just means that he's not synced right now, which makes sense because it seems like he's unconscious right now. So I still think we have Edison, but it is an interesting idea to have in this arc where we have literal demons coming in and leveling the place and trying to control information, trying to stop information from being distributed, trying to destroy the one that would free the people of their rule, that now also Vegapunk has died, and the only pieces of him left alive are the ones that his least favorable qualities are attributed to. Greed, evil. Is Lilith evil? Lilith the evil? Lilith the bad? Shaka the good? Lilith the bad? Whatever Lilith is, and violence. So it is interesting in this arc where darkness has descended on this island to also the only pieces of Vegapunk that are currently standing are the darkest versions. Now, I think Atlas is wonderful and Lilith is a delight. So, you know, York's really the only bad one, but I do like kind of that symmetry of having the only Vegapunks currently functioning matching the feeling of, you know, darkness is winning in the arc itself. And even then, the darkness that's descending on this island, the yokai, are now hunting down the other Vegapunks that are symbolically still the darker elements of him, but truly, you know, they're working with our Straw Hats. The yokai are hunting those pieces down to also snuff them out, so that truly the only bad piece is the only one still living, who's apparently going to become a celestial dragon, but I'm still voting for a beheading. I love this Viking ship, the exterior of it, when we see it dominating all these other ships. It's so big and imposing, and it's very Norse inspired, very Viking inspired. It looks amazing. And then when Luffy jumps onto the ship, and he's now no longer in his Gear 5th form, but he hops on, he celebrates with his pals, the giants, they're all celebrating with him. We get to see the cook, who Luffy rudely just eats all the food and then is like, just make some more. just cook some more. He's got Sanji as his chef, so there is no end to it. Bonnie has turned Doll and that old lady whose name I'm not sure of. Did they say it here? Bluegrass. Doll, Bluegrass, and the little giraffe. She's made them all small, and Doll looks mad about that. But I love it as Bonnie just makes them essentially useless at the moment and then hops on the ship with them. Sanji is still strategizing, still trying to get everybody on the ship so that they can set sail, so that they can get out of there. And at the same time, he's like, ladies, if you fall into the water, I got you. I will make sure that I save your life. And Usopp's like, and us? And Sanji's like, ladies, I got you. And I love this panel where they're being attacked by the bird one. They're being attacked, and the two giants are protecting them, putting their shields up, blocking the flames. Oh my goodness, it's so great. And it continues to have that really great balance of that humor and that charm and that, here's my hairbrush, and that sweetness, but also to have the ominous, like, okay, but we're still being attacked and we're still being followed, and this one has flight. So if we sail away, it can still follow us. It can continue to attack us, which means that likely there's still a good opportunity for a final death in this arc, because someone might choose to stay behind to grab the yokai and bring it underwater, or to fight the yokai and hold it off so it can't follow them until they get out of here. There's still the opportunity of Kuma to stand back up and sacrifice himself for Bonnie one last time, or Dory or Bragi, or one of the other giants that we don't know as well, but it's probably going to be someone we care about, you know? It does seem like it's going to be Kuma. I mean, we've been speculating for so long that Kuma's going to die at the end of this arc, but then the final panel, I feel, is really indicating that his time is done, which I'm not happy about, but, you know, it's good. It's good storytelling. So we have a lot of chaos going on, and the end of the chapter is Bonnie seeing Luffy in his Gear 5th form again and go, Nika! And he's like, yes, still don't know who you're talking about. I still am Luffy, which I love that he's just like, this is me in my free form. And he doesn't know about the prophecies. He doesn't know about the significance of this form to the giants or to the Buccaneers, and he's just himself. He's just being free, and he's just trying to protect people. He's just trying to do what is instinctually him, not realizing that he's also being what so many people have been waiting for. Now we have the Bonnie transformation, right? So she's like, I can't keep up with you. I can't do this. And he's like, of course you can. I don't know how your powers work, but I just feel confident that you can do this. And then we get to see Bonnie next to Luffy in her freest form, in her being totally free. So, okay. So, I know that this has been controversial. My patrons let me know during the live stream that people have had feelings about this. So, let's talk about it. Editing Murphy here. And while we talk about it, we're also going to be looking at Scene's work, because shocker, I know, it's another incredible piece. In this one, she focused on Kuma's perspective, on the fact that he was looking up, watching his daughter achieve freedom. She said, Kuma lived his whole life as a slave, just so his daughter can have a life where she's free. Free like the sun god Nika. And I just love her choice to have the Elbaf soldiers and the Straw Hats and the Vegapunks all surrounding Kuma as he looks up at this imposing monster, one of the forces that have worked so hard to destroy his life and the life of the people that he loves most. But really what he's seeing is the one that he's been waiting for, and his daughter emulating him. It's beautiful, and it complements a lot of what I talk about in this video as I discuss this section as well. Once again, as always, T-Scene is linked in the description, and please do show her love in the comments. First of all, this was not a surprise to me. I think that Oda has built this up beautifully, with Bonnie already being inspired by Luffy's forms and or by Nika's forms, and taking on future forms that are inspired by that, by Bonnie wanting him to show her. Luffy, earlier on, several chapters ago, Luffy told her, like, I'll teach you how to do this. I can work with you on this. Bonnie being able to imagine a future, the fact that Bonnie has been, like, looking for him and waiting for this form. I really think that Oda has built up the dynamic between Bonnie and Luffy, as well as the fact that Bonnie's already being inspired by him and that Luffy offered to teach her how to do it. I think that Oda has built it up to the point that when I saw this panel, I was like, naturally, this is the progression. Of course, this is what's going to happen. So from a ground laying perspective, this, I feel, was always what was going to happen. From a thematic perspective, I think it's stunning having Kuma, who all this time has been waiting for for Nika to return and to free them, who has passed down this legend not only to his daughter but to many others, who has been enslaved by the world government. He himself was enslaved. He lost his wife to them. He lost his home to them. He lost his body to them. He watched his daughter be raised in a very tumultuous situation, being deathly ill, and him searching the world for any kind of cure, sacrificing his very self in order to get that cure to her. He has been so harmed by the world government and waited for sun god Nika to appear to save them and to free them. And the fact that not only does he see Nika before he dies, but he sees his daughter standing next to sun god Nika, embodying him herself, especially because there was several chapters ago where she lost faith in this, and she was like, I don't believe I can't use my powers. And the fact that not only was her belief restored, but that she now, when Kuma devoted his life to trying to live like the legend of Nika and helped people the way he did because he wanted to kind of fill the gap until Nika came. He wanted to be that to people. He was trying to emulate this person that he was waiting for, and now he sees his daughter in the most literal way possible, emulating the one that they've been waiting for. Thematically, it's stunning. Thematically, it's so beautiful. And this picture, seeing Kuma, who's been through so much, who's so battered and broken, looking up at his daughter, standing next to the one that he's been waiting for, being taught by him how to be free, the bringer of freedom, the one that he's been waiting for to free them, being taught. He's seeing his daughter being taught by sun god Nika how to be the freest she can be. And as he's looking at her, he's thinking about Ginny. He's thinking about the promise that he made to her, that he would take care of Bonnie, and realizing it's done. It's been done. I was able to do this for her, which, like I said, this really feels like a final hurrah. This really does feel like we're about to say goodbye to Kuma forever. And this panel to the side too of Bonnie, just her face, just a close-in of her face, and how happy she looks. Oh my goodness. Whew. Yeah, I really love it. Whew. Now, we've talked about it from a groundling, like from a seedling, does it make sense narratively, was it built up enough perspective, from a thematic perspective. Now from a literal, like practical perspective, this is the one that I'm a little bit hesitant on. I love the idea of Bonnie's fruit being whatever she can imagine, which really couples with Luffy's Gear 5th form perfectly. So I understand them being side by side here. I love that Bonnie being able to do this is all Saturn's fault. He was messing around, experimenting with devil fruits, and decided to say, what if we did this? He gave her this devil fruit. She can do this and can now fight side by side next to Luffy to take them down because of him. So I love that, but it doesn't feel nice to have Luffy spend all this time building up to have these abilities, and we've watched the progression and we've watched him unlock this, and he is the prophesied one, he is the chosen one, he is the one that is meant to take down the world government, and the one that everybody turns to and has been waiting for and believes in. And then Bonnie's like, me too. Like, it doesn't feel nice, especially if she also can have all of his same powers, same abilities. If she emulating his form also means that she has access to his powers, that really, really doesn't feel nice. And in my live stream where I was doing my chapter reading for my patrons, some people were talking about the idea that all the Straw Hats are going to become, you know, Nika-like, and now we're gonna have a bunch of Sun God Nikas running around. We're like, we have Luffy, who's like the true one, but like, there's gonna be a bunch more. I hate it. I hate it so much. I don't want it. But all that said, we did just get the form. We don't know the limitations. We don't know how Oda's going to handle it. So it really just comes down to what comes next. It really just comes down to how is this going to look in action? What kind of limitations will Oda put on it? What kind of strength is Bonnie going to have? How far are we going to take this? The execution of this is far more important than the concept of it. So in concept, I love it for as far as just like, yeah, this makes sense. This is the future that it was building to. I love it thematically. I don't love it in action, in concept. Does that make sense? I need to see it in execution before I have any sort of opinion yet. So I'm just kind of waiting on Oda, because there have been times where Oda will say, all right, here's what we're about to do, and I hate it, but then I actually watch how he does it, and I love it. And there are times that I hate it, and then I watch how he does it, and I still hate it. So, you know, we're just gonna have to see how he does it. But I will say, I love the design, I love this final panel, and I love this far more than I'm trepidatious about it, if that makes sense. And I'm excited to see what Oda does with it. So far, Oda's proven himself to me enough that I think it's gonna be good, but we'll just have to see. So we will talk about it more next week. Please do chat with me in the comments. Let me know what you think about all these things. Stuff that I didn't talk about. I didn't even mention that the Giants did the Nika dance right there when he turned into Gear 5th, which, oh, my heart. So still tons to talk about, so please do chat with me more about it in the comments. I'm very curious to see what your thoughts are on it. I'll see you again soon. Bye.